Welcome to the Black Men Think podcast. If this is your first time here, know that the views and opinions expressed by the Black Men Think podcast are those of the Black Men Think podcast and not the individual members. With that being said, we're about to be unapologetically, undeniably black. Enjoy.
So look, man, I just got one question. Chris, bro, where you been? It's been like 3 episodes, bro.
Ain't
Where
seen
you
this
been?
man in about 2 months.
Man, there's so many ways I want to go about this, man. So let me tell you, here's where I've been. 7 shots in the back. 180,000 dead COVID-19. Schools and debates about children going back, people dying of COVID. No verdict on Breonna Taylor. No even updates.
Dang. Yeah, that's real.
I mean, actual murders by white terrorists. That's where I've been. I've just been I've been in a place, man. I mean, look, y'all see it even behind me, right? I got like the replica Banksy, and it's like children standing on top of a mound of weapons. That's where I've been, man. I've just been in a place. I mean, y'all know I've been out here grinding, doing my thing, work, whatnot, but I'm just in a place. We're in a place right now. We're in a place in America and in the world, but I'll say for purposes of our most of our audience here in the United States, it's not looking sweet right now. It's not looking good, man.
Yo, it was crazy. It's all of that you just mentioned. And, not to kind of spill the beans, some behind the scenes, but you got fireworks in your backyard tonight.
I mean, it's never been done. The current occupant of the White House has decided that it makes sense to do the nomination for his party on the hollow grounds of the White House, right? Like, irrespective of our politics, it has always been hollow grounds, a place where you don't bring in all of the like politics, right, left, or ideologies. I mean, I don't want to go super historical on y'all, but we got some pretty terrible presidents in our history here in America.
Yeah.
Currently, but
yeah,
and none of them have done what was done tonight. And so, all right, so y'all look it up, right? Like fireworks and a whole situation that went down.
Celebration.
Fanfare,
right.
bro.
Fanfare. I mean, 180,000 people have died in 4 months, and there's a celebration, a whole literal celebration, like it's all good, just miles away, like not even miles away, like 2 miles away from where I'm at right now. I just don't know how I think what I would say to our listeners, I question your conscience. I want you to really have an inner conversation. I just do. I just want you to have an inner conversation, because what we're experiencing right now is just not even right. This is not a partisan statement. This is not Democrat, Republican, Independent. It's just not right where we're at. We have people who are killing protesters. We got people not seeing eye to eye. We have police officers who are shooting first, and then like, oh, okay, well, I don't know where we're at, other than what I see, and what I see is sickness. I see cancer. I see rot. I see dysfunction. I see divisiveness. I see all of what is not what we are, and something's got to be done. Something's got to be done. We got, Jacob, God rest his soul. And I don't mean that he didn't pass. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't mean that. I mean, God bless his soul, in that
Right.
He is paralyzed now.
Right.
And he got shot in the midst of entering a vehicle with 3 of his children.
Right.
At close range. Let's not forget at close range, bro.
With
Like
no cause. Let's not forget
no weapon.
that. No weapon in his hand. Literally walking around his car, cop strolling, like not even an aggressive situation, right?
I mean, it's funny that you say that because, they're trying to paint it like, aggressive.
Like
He
a
didn't
struggle,
listen
right?
to the guard. He didn't listen to the police officers. Nah. I mean, so far what they're saying, and the video show it, is like there was an altercation that he was a part of that he was actually trying to dissipate, and he was in the midst of it. So it's like, you don't know who's who.
Yeah.
And then like goes back to the car, like, stop, hold down. But see, I feel like for me, what the challenge in those moments is, why are you pulling up with guns? I don't understand the idea. I don't know. So, okay, I call a cop and I say, hey, I see a burglar entering a home. Pull up with guns, because you just don't know what you're gonna get. I guess maybe I can see that kind of, but at best, a domestic disturbance, while it's not great, but pulling up with guns for a domestic disturbance. Sure, we're in 2020. Domestic disturbance can result in all types of things, but once again, we can have a measured approach to what we assume can happen.
I don't know. I mean, low key, even the scenario that you mentioned, though, it changes because you as a black man, you make that call and say it's a burglar at my house. They pull up 9 times out of 10, they're gonna see you as a threat. Matter of fact, we got a mutual homeboy who got put on his face in front of his own house because there was a burglary at his home. And I mean, how many people have had countless encounters or countless situations? And on the flip side, let's talk about the flip side. At the same time, a 17-year-old boy with an assault rifle can literally murder.
Literally murder. We're gonna speak plain. We're gonna play.
Walk straight up.
Let me walk this back, though.
Walk it back.
Let me run that back. Let me walk this back. Oh, a domestic white terrorist.
Period.
Not an aspiring cop.
No.
Not a vigilante.
Not a 17-year-old white boy that diminishes a domestic white terrorist. Cross state lines with an AR-15 to police a protest because of hate groups that were on social media and discourse that was in social media, and then goes and exacts exactly what was discussed in the social media threads. Nah,
it's crazy, bro.
It's not a 17-year-old white boy. It's a white domestic terrorist.
There you go.
Let's speak plainly about it. And I'm not. That's not to you. That's
just no, for sure.
No, you're right.
That is what it is.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, because look, we were called super predators. So, like, white domestic terrorist,
yeah,
who picked up a gun, a high capacity rifle to go to a protest. I mean, at best, all right, look, let's put some of this stuff to rest. You see discourse right now talking about, they're looting and they're burning things down. And
does that justify killing?
But see, like, JD, they're not burning down homes. It's like right now, all right, so I'm about to make it plain for y'all. Y'all not gonna like where I'm going with this. Not y'all, but like,
go there, bro.
Yeah.
Why do we have insurance? I can pull my whip out my garage right now, get in a car accident, it's destroyed, right? Mm-hmm. It can burn, right?
Yeah.
Insurance comes in, I get a new one.
Yeah.
I can get the damage repaired. I can get it fixed. Let's be let's be clear. We're not talking about nobody's in your neighborhood burning down your homes. No one's burning down you and your loved ones and your wives and your daughters and your children. That's not happening. Show me. Please send to our handle on our social media that example. You're not gonna,
Right.
you can't send it. At best, a demonstration to show you like you don't value my life. I don't value
your stuff,
your institution.
Your
But
idols.
because you know what, you can like replace it. So like if now you're saying, oh, that's it, you value your stuff more than you value me.
That's what it is. That's the key. That's the key, and that's the secret piece that people don't want to. They don't want to admit that, because if you admit that, then we get into another layer of a problem that exists in this country, bro. And it's like it's so frustrating just to see it keep happening over and over and over and over again. Like that's the frustrating part. And I did not see the entire. Well, I mean, you know how social media is, bro. Like you don't even try to see something, you end up seeing it. So the two things, like with Jacob Blake, like to see the police come behind him and shoot that guy 7 times at close range is like mind-boggling to me, because
it took me back to Philando Castile. That's what it took me back to. Where this dude told them, like, I got the strap. I got it. I have it. Sorry, JD. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you fine. Like, let's play the other side for a second. As a cop, say I'm a cop, and everything that transpired, right? If this guy is, in my mind, if this guy is running to his car to get a weapon, right? Because that's what I'm assuming that's what's in the cop's mind. Of course. He's running to the car to get a weapon.
What are your options at that point? Because that's what we need to talk about.
That's where we go, right?
That's where we're going.
Those are my options, right? So let's say if my option in my mind, I think like, oh, I gotta protect what's going on right now, right? So I have to use what's perceived deadly force. I think one shot.
No. Let's back that up. Mm-hmm. You're a police officer. Mm-hmm. What else do you have? What else do you carry in your holster? Bro?
Tasers.
A taser.
Man,
Or as the gentleman is walking around the car, there are multiple policemen.
Thank you. You're going where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
No one protect and serve means you've taken an oath also to uphold the law and to protect and serve. So like run in and subdue this dude. And if you are the unfortunate person that laid your life down for that moment, and I'm not trying to say that like I want you to, like I'm not saying like, oh yeah, like die for me.
Yeah.
But I'm also saying like that's what you signed up for.
Facts. Yeah, exactly. You took an oath.
You took an oath for that. Yeah. So like do that first. And then if this cat like somehow like Russell, pop, and then comes out shooting everybody, let's have a different discussion at that point.
Mm-hmm. The most mind-boggling thing about the entire like watching it is that there was no sense of urgency at any given point in that incident.
No sense of urgency, except
outside of pulling the trigger.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Outside of pulling the trigger.
I mean, look, we know it well. See, this is actually the part that gets me exhausted. I'm very exhausted. I'm tired actually. I don't need to. We talking and we know it. We've seen it. We've experienced. I'm exhausted at trying to like. I mean,
explain it.
Yo, like everybody. What is fascinating to me about these moments is how everyone becomes a lawyer in this moment and trying to like
when we shouldn't have to.
But hey, did you notice his body went like this? And when your body goes like this, I don't know.
You're a threat.
Might mean
you're a threat.
But
you're
like,
going for your knife.
He went like this, and that means like he grabbed it. Oh, I don't know. And it's like, we're okay. Wait, what? We're now trying to.
Let's go back to the basics.
You see what I'm saying? Like we're trying to now get to a whole bunch of. I mean, really, what it is justification. You're just trying to justify. Yeah, I mean, that's not even a word. You're trying to justify what isn't possible.
Justifiable.
What
isn't justifiable.
Right.
Yeah.
And now here, the flip side of that, right? The terrorist, the white terrorist, 17-year-old. Say that, and I know we playing the lawyer tag right now, right? But if I'm a police officer, right, and say I don't know what's going on, but what I can see visibly is someone with their hands up with a automatic weapon wrapped around their neck.
All right, for our listeners, we're talking
Give
about
context, Chris.
Kenosha, Wisconsin. Kenosha, Wisconsin. This is where the Jacob situation took place. Protesting is going on. What we're talking about now is this individual who has actually, at this point, literally already murdered someone, and is and actually murdered eventually, because he had already shot someone. That person died, so had technically already murdered two people.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, knew he was like, oh, I done messed up. Threw his hands up. Literally, like your conscience, his whole conscience of him was like, at the very least, I done did something. And so let me throw my hands up, because that's what I know I expect. And the cops zoomed right past him.
Multiple police vehicles.
And also had the gun on him. So now we're talking about, so let's break this down for all y'all listeners. And we want to just, so a man that walks around a car, we can actually, I mean, I'll go there. We can throw anything in there. I mean, he might have been hungry. He might have grabbed a sandwich. He might have grabbed his wallet. He might have grabbed his cell phone. He might have grabbed the keys. He might have grabbed a bag. He might have grabbed one of the kids out the car. And he gets shot 7 times. And someone who's literally murdered people with a gun visible, a whole long rifle, puts his hands walking towards you, and y'all zoom past him. I mean, see, this is the thing that y'all have to understand. That doesn't make sense.
You want to know what that is?
Not even practical.
You want to know what that is?
It's just not practical, Mo.
You want to know what that is? Fellas, that's white privilege. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Because I can guarantee there's no cop that can say that they didn't see him. I'll tell you what they saw.
Oh, they saw assumption. Oh, we'd assume that he ain't got nothing to do with nothing.
He ain't got nothing to do with anything. He's exercising his Second Amendment right.
So here's the thing, JD. We'll take it a little deeper here. And I need for y'all to look this up. Not y'all on this, but our listeners and our viewers. There's actual real research and data out there that talks about how there is visually, there people see Black teenagers as older than what they are. So you can see a whole 12-year-old and think they 20.
I got a nephew. He looked 20 and he's 17. He looked 25.
And so,
but it's just it's not that he looks that way. It's just his girth. He is a strapping Black, good-looking young boy, and he carries the presence of. I mean, let's just say it like it is. He's an incredible football player. He's huge.
But that's a specific. That's even more specific. That is a literal, more specific statement. I mean, look, I'm not gonna call out no names because I don't want us to get called out on this Black man thing. There is a certain young woman who I actually am a really big fan of. She's on the Blackish show. She's the daughter. She's the middle daughter, younger, she is the younger daughter.
Yeah.
And like she's been marketed in Hollywood a little older recently than literally what she is, but because she can do that is because she can do that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. She did a whole movie with Insecure person. Y'all know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah.
And that's not even a shot. I'm only just saying there is so much bias in what is going on here because they rolled past him, and at best they were like, "Oh, that's a young white high school kid out here with a gun
doing his patriotic duty."
A might not even have been a gun. They might have made mental assumptions of that's probably some low whatever. One way or the other,
videotape and everything.
Yeah, and then second,
camera,
and or maliciously, it could have been a whatever. We'll see. I mean, because the reason why I say that part is because, as we know, in Oregon, in the past couple of weeks, there were choices made by the law enforcement to say, like, we're not going to police and we're not going to enforce, and we're going to allow clashes to take place from both sides, and we're going to let that play out.
You know what it is, Chris? They didn't see him as a threat.
They didn't.
Absolutely.
They didn't see him as a threat. That's what it is. Now, just sit in that for a second. A man, because he's 17, but if a black man is 17,
oh no,
he's
don't
a man.
diminish it. Don't diminish it. There's
a
all
man.
the conversations around like, oh, we should try him as an adult. Nah, man.
Man, he's
You
a
take
man, right?
You make man decisions. You get man results.
Man
Absolutely.
result.
And have
So
those hesitations ever happen when it was us at 17?
No, not at
Never.
all. So you have a man in the street with a gun, and they didn't see a threat. But there's a man with no gun going to his car, and hell, we got to shoot him 7 times.
And wherever my mind can take me to believe that he could get a gun is enough for me to shoot him before he actually even has a gun.
And now that man is
and
paralyzed.
Or not, which we literally know he didn't have.
Did y'all hear? He's not only paralyzed, but he's also handcuffed to his hospital bed right now.
Still?
Think about that.
Man, bro. Hey, man, look.
Think about that. He's paralyzed, bro. He ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, it's still important to remind him what we think of you.
Bro.
I didn't know that piece, JD. That takes me to a different place, man.
Yeah, it does.
Hard. That stuff's hard.
And you know what's so hard? Let me speak to this. It's very hard. And I was chatting with my wife the other night, man. It's hard to sit in a position of I'm going to continue to maintain my civil position.
Civility, yes.
My civility.
Yep.
Because Lord knows half the time, bro, I want to nut up. I want to nut clean. I want to nut up, bro. Like.
So let's be clear for y'all, because y'all don't know. Many of y'all probably don't even know what nut up is. We Southern boys out here. We straight from Georgia. Yeah. We Georgia. We Georgia through and through.
Down South Georgia boys.
Yeah. Nut up means we scrapping. We out here.
We putting hands.
We're angry. Hands. We're just like flipping over tables. We're not even killed. Is what.
Yeah.
Hey, let me speak to the core of what that is, though. That response is. It's like it's righteous indignation. Like it's a space of I cannot take any more of this. And the aggressive stance that I want to take is justice, because it's not being given to us rightfully. So now it requires us to respond in a way where we have to take it. Or we have to at least make it known that we will not stand for anything less. And granted, this brings up an entirely different space of a conversation, because the response to that situation obviously has, we've seen the responses of protests. We've seen, obviously a protest going extremely bad with this white terrorist 17-year-old who murdered people in the middle of the street and then walked off, to the point to where he literally was caught fleeing in a completely different state. We've seen that. But we also saw, kind of recent happenings where obviously there has been an NBA bubble. And we've talked about it on this podcast before. We've had debates on whether or not sports should return, and yet we saw a standstill moment where players who had, I guess, in a sense, agreed to returning to their jobs, as long as the platform that they, work upon can be used to bring light to social injustices, racism, the plight of the black man in America, black woman in America, the whole 9 yards. As long as we can bring attention to that, we will play these games. And we saw all of that crumble to pieces as soon as Jacob got shot in the back 7 times. And we saw it all stop, right? And then the world began to respond to that, because obviously the NBA has a major platform the world is watching, and other sports followed suit. The NBA is a level setter in that
Yeah.
situation, right?
What is
Right,
it? Mo?
100%.
Was it MLB and MLS and like a couple of them?
All of,
Everybody,
like,
bro.
there were tennis
WNBA.
players, you know,
Yeah,
Naomi
Osaka,
Osaka,
Naomi Osaka.
you know,
Shout out to
um,
Naomi Osaka.
absolutely.
I actually,
Um,
I don't want to divert that, but I just at least we got
yeah,
to give a shout out to like, I love that on so many levels because that's multiculturalism. He's
facts.
also sending messages to the whole country of Japan on that stage.
Say that.
Right.
So like,
Absolutely.
shout out to Naomi Osaka on that.
But at the end of the day, you know, there's always this ongoing debate of, should these things have been going on to begin with? Were they distractions, or were they necessary so that when things like this happen, there is a standstill? And I'm just curious, like, I'm really curious to see what you guys' thoughts, you know, is on that, because we're always in a space where we are the innocent bystander when these things happen to us, to our people, yet we can't retaliate, you know, because we want the message to continue to be clear.
Right.
But then our culture and the ways that we want to express ourselves are always the topic of debate and the topic of scrutiny, you know. And so I'm just curious, like, what are y'all thinking about how the NBA players decided to make their stance, and most recently have decided to go back to, you know, continue to play and to maintain their platform? What, I mean, Chris, I know you've had strong thoughts about this. JD, I know. So I mean, I love to kind of share with our listeners, or dive deep in this topic and just see where we go with this.
You know, I'm sitting there looking off to the side, and like, because I'm cycling through my mind, and I'm hearing you loud and clear. I just got to say, I respect what the players are doing right now, because I think what the challenge has been is that we're in a capitalistic society, and that it truly dictates often where we are in this moment. And so let me speak a little plain. Are you willing at that level to forego millions of dollars possibly to say that I believe in a greater good and a greater moment than my millions of dollars? Now, the average, most of us will never be able to make those decisions, and the decision would be to not make that decision because we like, that's millions of dollars. But then you also wonder in these moments, because like, look, we're talking about like, let's bring it into a real time. Thabo Cephalosha was an example of this in New York City.
Right.
He got in he was at a club, left out the club. There was an unruly individual. There was an assumption that was made by police officers that he was, because he's a tall basketball player. For those y'all don't know, tall black player, biracial, but mostly black looking, from France, fit the description. He got tackled up and like hemmed up and bruised up, and literally they broke his leg in the scuffle, and it caused him to not be able to play in the NBA. And then after the investigation and the whole findings, literally the cops were wrong. They were wrong. He had literally nothing to do with the situation other than being there and a part of like the party and like trying to break up, or like the assumptions that they made. And so
assumptions
in these moments, I'm like, I only use him as an example because for me, I think that illuminates that, the Dave Chappelle show, like, do you want your moment? And y'all know what I mean when I say that. Like, there can be a moment where you get your moment as a black person. And so I think what the NBA players have understood is like, sure, I might have these trappings, I might have this platform. If right now, let's put, all right, I'm gonna speak plain. Big up to First Lady Michelle Obama. Please, fellas, y'all go listen to the First Lady's podcast. It's on Spotify. Big up. She just put out an episode either a day ago or today or just somewhere in the last that was actually talking about the weight of white privilege and the existence of being black. And she actually recounted moments where she was literally the first lady of the United States of America. Literally the most powerful woman in the world. Where there were times that her daughters were going to some of the private schools here in Washington, D.C. They played soccer. There was one time she recounts, well, 2 times that she recounts on her most recent episode. She's walking Bo and Sunny dogs. And she said, like, literally, because she had the hoodie and like was a little subdued, people, like white people walked up and were petting the dogs, and they literally never looked her in the eye. And it was like, oh, I wanted to pet your dog, and so I just did that. Okay, whatever. And there was another moment she recounted. Yeah, that's the whole thing. And there was another moment she recounted where she was in a Haagen-Dazs, pulled up post game, Sasha Malia in soccer uniforms, whatever. She tells the Secret Service, which is very common during the Obama years, fall back. I want to be normal. I'm not trying to be this whole thing. Because, you know, paparazzi, everybody's, oh my God.
Right.
Yo, fall back. Let me just do this. And because, like, you know, they're professionals. They know how to pull up and they need to.
For sure.
So she's in line. No one even literally knows who they are. The literal first lady is in line with both her daughters and a friend and their children. A whole white woman comes in, skips in front of them, goes up to the woman at Haagen-Dazs to order her thing, and like begins to serve the white woman that skips that line. And then her friend is like, wait, word? And then they kind of like, oh, excuse me. I don't know that you realize that we were here.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
Mm. And that's an often occurrence in our life.
That's just blatant disrespect, bro.
Think about that. The first lady of the United States of America caught that action because she didn't have the trappings. And so let me take it here.
Man.
I'm going to take it here and it's going to get ugly. I don't respect you where you're at right now, Herschel Walker, when you make statements like you make recently, because
trash.
You're confused. Because if my first lady can be in that situation, and you know why she was in this situation? Because she didn't have the security with her. If she had a security with her, oh my God, that's Michelle Obama. Oh my gosh, I'm a fan. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Oh, you're great. Oh, can I get a selfie? Herschel Walker, yo, the reason why you don't see the racism that you claim doesn't exist and you don't understand and like what's going on, you're Herschel Walker, bro. We from Georgia. You've been Herschel Walker.
Bro, let me just say one quick thing about Herschel Walker.
Man, come on.
Herschel Walker is from Wrightsville, Georgia.
Oh, I know. That's what I said.
Wrightsville.
Look at my face.
Right.
Wrightsville, Georgia. Johnson County, Georgia. For anybody that don't know where that at, that's like
you said don't know where that at.
Yo. I'm on Wikipedia looking up Wrightsville, Georgia, right? The city limits includes Johnson State Prison to the northeast side of town, excuse me. Right? Wrightsville is part of the Dublin micropolitan statistical area. So not too far from Dublin, right?
Hey.
We have one of our fellow hosts, Tori, is from that area.
From the Dub.
I'm sure he could tell us all about Wrightsville, Georgia.
And low key, I done been to that penitentiary because I done had family in that joint.
Oh yeah.
So let me break something down for anybody that don't know anything about Georgia. If you don't live in Atlanta, Savannah, Macon, Columbus, or Augusta,
Albany. Matter of fact, let me take Albany out. That's country.
If you're not in one of those 5 cities, I can guarantee that you're gonna see racism at your front door.
Yeah.
It's just it's gonna happen, bro. So for him to make statements like that, let me know that for one, he's completely disconnected. And
he's
just
in a
like
bubble.
You said,
That's
Chris,
the point that I'm making. He's Herschel Walker.
He's Herschel Walker, bro. You've been
a straight star since he's middle school, like literally.
Yeah.
Since you were 15 years old, you were never.
Like, come on, man.
You were never.
But at the crux of it all, you were a Georgia Bulldog, taking on the cheers of some of the most staunch red state supporters in Georgia. Like, like at the core, you were on the field at the centerpiece of a place
No, but I mean,
that
see, that's
in
like a
no
whole
way
thing. That make
represents
yeah,
who we are.
exactly.
You know,
So
my oppressors have been good to me is basically what he just said. That's basically what he said.
That's what he said. That's what he said, Mo.
I have no qualms with the master.
Let's speak clearly.
Man, come on, man.
Let's
That's
speak clearly
BS,
on
bro.
what he's
Hey,
what
bro.
he said is like, I look, I have no problem because life's been good for me.
For me. But see, that's the disconnect there. And that's honestly for me, like why the whole, conversation and debate on whether or not, let's just, and I'm still bringing it back to the NBA bubble, and it's like, okay, maybe when it started, there was a lot of questions to be had. Is this going to be a distraction in the midst of COVID-19, in the midst of all of this racial tension? Because at the time, we were at the height of the moment of protests, right? George Floyd, right. Breonna Taylor, the whole 9 yards, Ahmaud Arbery, Rashard Brooks. It was everything was bubbling. So there was huge question on whether or not this was just going to be a distraction. While at the same time, there's also the debate that as a black man, I'm gonna just speak for myself. Without basketball coming back, bro, I probably would lose my mind to some extent. Like, there's a sense of normalcy and mental health that basketball kind of just calms the storm a little bit for me. I'm talking about my own personal self, because I can only speak to me in this moment. And it's just like, for me not to snap on somebody tomorrow, I'm going to sit back and watch this Lakers game tonight and just kind of like,
but see, I love
exhale.
that you brought that up though, because I've been really pondering this quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even directed at you, but I'm like, I know that is also the function of what sports serves, because the sports throughout millennia at this point, literally, I mean, there's considerable information on what sports has represented and been throughout time. Sorry, battery about to go crazy, so I'm plugging that in. I think for me, what I wonder though is like, isn't that a part of the problem? And like, isn't that also where we need to figure out, like, is it sufficient to, like, I don't know that sports is that outlet for me. And I say that not because I'm saying that that's what it is for you, other than you saying what it is, but I think that is what is like, that also isn't actually good. That if that's where I feel like I got to go to get my outlet, it actually speaks to what is all wrong with everything.
I don't disagree with you, however, I'm also extremely realistic about where I am in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Or let's say, if I was at the pinnacle of health, whether it be, mental health, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't need an outlet. Correct? We all agree on that, right? Like, mm-hmm. I would not need space to exhale because in some kind of way, despite the chaos, I would be in a place of peace, or at least I would be in a place where I can reconcile everything that is happening and move forward. However, I'm not there, bro. And I honestly feel that so many of us are not, because we are so confused right now. We're so hurt. We're so angry. We're so frustrated. We're broken. We're praying. We're leaning into God at the same time, asking, why, Lord? We are, we are so many different things. And I'm not saying that the NBA is for everybody. I'm not saying that a game is for everybody. For some people, it is a distraction, And I mean that seriously. Like, for some people, they need to turn the TV off. You know what I'm saying? However, and sometimes for me, I need to turn the TV off. However, sometimes that is a moment for me to take my mind off of my own pain, and not in a destructive way where it's going to remove my attention from what's happening, but it's going to actually give me a space to heal without it destroying me. if that makes sense.
No, I
What are
get
your
that.
thoughts?
I get that. I think for me, I understand both sides of it, right? So I understand um taking away sports because it's a distraction, but also on the side of, you know, just call it what it is, bro. Without the and we're only going to talk about the NBA right now because that was the focal point of what would
Right,
be a
right.
distraction, right? So you take away the NBA, and truth be told, the voices that are magnified in the NBA would be the same voices that we always hear, right? So you will have LeBron who will still talk. You'll probably have like
Chris
the
Paul.
superstar players, Chris Paul, um, you know, let's just go out and say 10 players, really, who voices are magnified to the point to where it's going to get picked up and people are going to talk about it. But if there's no platform, if there's no playoffs going on, there's no bubble or restart, it shut it down. And for them to do that today, that speaks more volumes what happened today than I think that if they wouldn't have if they wouldn't have went to the bubble at all. But I think now what we're seeing right now that happened is bigger than if they didn't start in the first place. And the reason why I say that is because they were coming off a situation where they were not playing at all anyway. So your mentality is that, oh, they
So this is different than before, is what you're
yeah,
saying.
like they weren't playing. Like we already had a 3 month break of the NBA not playing, so technically our mindset was already in the midst of, oh, okay, cool, they not playing. It could have easily went away, but now that we're in the middle of a playoff series and they just said we ain't doing it, the impact is bigger now. We've seen
That's right.
baseball shut down, football is like practices stop, soccer stop, like all of these things happen because NBA players said, "No, we not doing it, bro. We're not doing it." So, I think that's one of those things that is super important that we things that are happening currently right now. We have to pay attention to that, bro. Like it's it's
And I
important.
get it. I get it because, on the other side of it, it's a perfect time to stop it all too, right? Like if we're honest, like it's a perfect time for these players to say, man, forget this bubble. I want to go back home. I want to make change in my community. I want to be on the front lines of these protests. I want to be, in my local news or my city's news and speaking out. And I think we can separate and be just as effective. Or, it's this at the same place. It's an opportunity for them to say, no, let's continue. And now
Mm-hmm.
the owners, the commissioner, all the executives in this league know that we mean business, know that we didn't just
Right.
come here for basketball. And they also know that we have the power to shut all this down at any given point.
Right.
So
Right.
now what are you going to do about it? Owners and general managers and so on and so forth. Like, how are you going to take what we're doing here to the next level outside of just putting some Black Lives Matter logos on our court and on the
See,
back of our jerseys?
that's the part that I really enjoy about this, because we've had a lot of conversations around the capitalism and the capitalistic structure, and the idea is they forced them to lose money. Let's just be clear. The idea that the
Mm-hmm.
games had to be canceled and to postpone, and like
Right.
all of what goes into that. And at the end of the day, these owners are a part of these structures in America where they can go talk to somebody and be like, all right, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. We're gonna need to have some of these high level conversations. I mean, look, you got Roger Goodell out here talking about like and I don't want to divert this from the NBA because we're talking about the NBA, but I mean, once again, shout out to Colin Kaepernick. You already know where I stood on this the whole time.
I stand with
stand
Cap.
with Cap. Because he now got whole Roger Goodell out here doing an about face,
A fool about face.
whole interview,
about face.
whole
FOOL.
interview saying, "Yeah, we were wrong."
Right.
And like, I think it's probably the best apology Kaepernick's gonna get, which is like he's on the whole circuit saying like, "Well, we cannot ignore what he was talking about at this point. And I
Right.
think I'd say this differently now.
Right. Even though he ain't saying his name though.
Yeah, I mean,
That's another thing.
Oh,
But
no.
true.
Legal
Yeah,
boundaries.
there's
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
think for me, this is what I do appreciate about the players, because they provoke. I mean, once we've said it always, it's just a tried and true tactic across millennia, but like definitely in 2020, you got to mess up the bag for get people's attention.
I mess up the bag.
You
And
do.
best believe that bag got messed up because right now they already don't have fans. So we talking
No.
about advertisers.
Oh no, we talking about a
TV,
good
TV
tens to hundreds of millions of dollars that got messed up over the
Oh,
Not to mention
100%.
the impact. Not to mention the impact in every single city, for the teams that are represented there.
Oh, yeah.
The global NBA brand.
Oh yeah, no, the brand is long on a lot of levels, because like we're talking about TV, we're talking about advertisements, we're talking about the logistics, we're talking about, I mean, there's just so much that goes into all that. And I thought it was swift, it was precise. I give the NBA players all of the credit for what they did, because that's what you have to do.
The one thing, Chris, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
The one thing about it that I wish that they would have focused and implemented on a little bit more is just saying, like, these games are not postponed. These games are canceled. Because with them being postponed, they're going to make them up. And so eventually they're just getting an extra day to make their money back. But if you say, like, if Milwaukee said, like, no, we forfeit the game. We forfeit.
Yeah.
Orlando is the winner. The Lakers said, we forfeit the game. Portland is the winner. So now when they come back, it's game 6. It ain't game 5. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's a bigger impact, because now you coming in, you really took the money away for real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now when it comes back on Saturday or Friday or whenever it comes back.
Because JD, to your point, because you know what you also mess up on that, and I'm not saying that it's like as sizable, but it also matters. Oh, we forfeit this game, Orlando get this. We forfeit this game, Trailblazers get this. You know what that also messes up?
The fan. No.
The sports book.
The sports book,
the betting,
but hear me. Oh yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? The sports book get messed up. There's a lot of that messes up the sports book, because that changes those dynamics.
It comes back.
Hey, also though, the fans' attention is completely diverted. Like, imagine the fan base that the Lakers have, and if the Lakers forfeited the game, like, the uprising, the uproar that would just come from that alone. They have their foot on the gas, and they just can't let up. And I don't mean that saying like they can't go back to playing. What I'm saying is that they have to recognize the power that they actually have, and that they are the asset, and to utilize that with the utmost leverage, to put all of these, billionaires that own these teams into a position where they are forced to take it another level. And they have that level, like, just like you alluded to. They have the connections. They can make it happen.
Totally.
Man, boy, we need change.
We need change, bro. But even on top of that change, man, it's just, we're all exhausted, bro. Like, the truth is, I don't think we really realize what COVID has done to us. And I don't think we're going to truly realize it until, like, maybe 2022, when we really can sit back and look at, like, bro, we're dealing with we in all our fields right now. Like, I mean, all of this stuff is happening at the same time, bro. Like, from Kobe passing to
rest in peace.
Kobe.
Still hurts.
Mamba, man.
Still hurts,
bro. It's just like 2020 is like the attack on the black man's mental, bro. Like, really. from, like, I mean, Kobe is a sports icon, so we can't deny that. Whether you was like a diehard fan of Kobe or not, we know what Kobe represented. You know what I'm saying? So from Kobe passing to being in COVID and family members not being able to be in contact with family members, and some of our family members are sick and not being it, like, bro, we haven't seen each other in forever. And like,
Yeah.
we're the best of friends. We can't even like get up like we want to. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of this stuff that is happening to the black man, and it's happening to other people too, but I'm talking because we on Black Man Think. But all of this stuff that's happening, I don't think we're gonna truly realize what we've been through in 2020, bro. Like, we've been through a lot, and it's not even September yet. We've been through a lot, bro. And so, I mean, I say all that to say, y'all, take a mental break at some point, bro. Like, you got to. It's okay. I know we talk all this stuff. It's okay to be on the front lines, man. But at some point, we got to decompress. Like, if that decompression is taking a day where we ain't watching no news, we ain't watching no sports, we ain't talking on the phone, we ain't on no, so, like, we got to find the moment, bro, because our mental is so important. And right now, we dealing with so much, whether we know it or not, that on top of, and we like all husbands and boyfriends and family. Like,
So
it's
we're
a
wearing
lot,
the
bro.
weight of everybody else
It's
too.
a lot, bro. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, man. So just, take that time to decompress, bro. Like, whatever your decompressing is, figure that out and just do it. Take a day and just do that, and like, try to escape from all of this stuff that's going on. Like, you can come back to it because it needs proper attention, but don't forget to take a day for you in the midst of all of this, bro. Like, take a day for you, because this stuff is heavy, and the way it's looking, it ain't getting lighter. You know what I'm saying? It ain't getting lighter, bro.
For real, man.
It ain't getting lighter at all, man. Black Man Think, bro. Thank y'all for allowing us to vent what's in our head to y'all.
Man, for real.
Yeah.
Because if we going through it, y'all going through it, right?
Yep.
The feels
For
that
sure.
we had tonight, y'all are feeling those same feels, man. And so we in this together, bro. And so if y'all are listening to this podcast, and if this podcast serves as an outlet for you, we appreciate you. We're happy to be that outlet for y'all, man. Just continue to, share and tell people about the podcast, because we're trying to grow, man. And the only way we're gonna grow is through y'all. Honestly, that's the only way. If no one is listening, then we're not growing. So continue to share this thing, and thank y'all. Really, that's it.
Yeah.
Man. Thank y'all. Really, real, man.
The Black Men Think Podcast.